Federal and state investigators are trying to get to the bottom of a recent outbreak of lung illnesses that could be linked to vaping. As of last
Beginning in
week,
April, reports of sudden and severe health
potential
problems.
vaping-related illnesses
Mostly
in
young people
22
have been
states
rising
were reported to the
rapidly across
CDC.
the
And now one doctor said they can see
use of electronic smoking.
It's deadly. It is basically slow suicide. And essentially you're drowning with a very thin layer of oil inside your lungs. These were quite often cut with vitamin E, which is one of the kind of long hydrophobic molecules. So when looking at vaping, there's a couple of risks that immediately come to mind. First, the chemicals that go into the vape cartridge are going to be modified when they're heated up. So chemistry, you start out, you've got your chemicals. When you apply heat, you can do, at high temperatures, pyrolysis, which is going to start breaking bonds of your molecules. And you're going to start getting new things that you did not originally have. The other issue, which seems to be a little bit more relevant kind of immediately, is that certain chemicals are going to be what we call hydrophobic. They don't like water. And when they're heated, you can form a vapor out of them, or an aerosol, which, okay, not a big deal, except for the fact once you inhale them, your lungs are an aqueous environment, a wet or a water-based environment. And it's literally oil and water. So you're now covering the insides of your lungs with oil. That's not optimal for their function. It prevents them from doing what they need to do. And essentially you're drowning with a very thin layer of oil inside your lungs.
My name is Nicole Collins. I'm a senior chemistry major here. I do analytical research with Dr. Alisi. We did an experiment testing volatile organic compounds in e-cigarette smoke and e-cigarette liquids using gas chromatography mass spectrometry. So we did have to make a vape chamber. The vape chamber allows for your electronic cigarette device to sit in there. It's connected to various tubes and a pump. So we actually use the pump to mimic the person inhaling the smoke and actually puffing on the cigarette. And then the smoke is carried through tubes into a vial or a flask, which we then use to collect the smoke in cotton balls. And then we dissolve the cotton balls with methanol, and then the methanol is what's run through the GCMS to detect the volatile organic compounds. Our research actually found a lot more harmful residues in the e-cigs than we anticipated on in the first place. And a lot of the things that we found are not things that you're even supposed to consume. So even though it is advertised as being safer, it's not in a volatile organic compound sense. So the volatile organic compounds that we found are so much more dangerous for your body because they're all easily combustible and can cause a lot more damage than just regular tobacco cigarettes.
We're getting an inside look at the growing underground vaping industry as more states take steps to fight the health risks linked to e-cigarettes. Washington is now the 5th state this year to ban the sale of flavored vaping devices, and this comes as a total of 27 deaths across 22 states are being tied to vaping.
So when looking at some of the recent events with the cartridges, quite a few of those were cartridges that were not filled with what was intended to go into a vape pen. It was more of an edible or something that was meant to be consumed orally. So these were quite often cut with vitamin E, which is one of the kind of long hydrophobic molecules. So once it's heated up, one, it can degrade, start forming other compounds, but also it's not something that's water soluble. So it's going to get in the lungs and it's going to create an oily surface.
I've been doing dab carts for 3 years. A few people have contacted me after hitting my dab carts about feeling sick. However, like I said, I didn't do anything intentionally wrong to them, so I wasn't sure what was wrong with them. I just thought they may have had something within themselves. I don't know anything about the chemicals or anything. I just buy and sell just to make some money. Vaping in general definitely is more regulated and safer than dab cart usage, just because dab carts are so black market and underground that you never really know what you're getting.
Obviously, not having a person vape things that were not meant to vape would be a good thing. Things that were meant to be ingested, your digestive system is able to handle things like vitamin. That's where it's meant to go. Whereas not your lungs are not. So being able to prevent that, whether that means making more legal alternatives or being able to crack down on the illegal ones, that's a policy thing beyond my expertise. But that would help. That said, vaping is clearly not good for you. Is it worse than smoking? I don't know. Ideally, you would do neither, but unfortunately, we've, as a society, been trying to get people to not smoke for a very long time, and it has not exactly been successful.
So casually keep diving into concrete, so bittersweet, huh? Keep losing sleep while driving in the backseat. What's left of me? Drowning in what feels just like an ocean. Negativity is getting closer. Hard to keep the heat when it gets colder.